Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This fall, I spent some time checking out some local antique markets, vintage shops, and did a little bit of fall thrift shopping as well, and I thought you might want to see what I picked up. So one of the places I went shopping was the Toronto Vintage Clothing Show. I went with my friend. It's a great place to find one-of-a-kind and unique pieces. There's hundreds of vendors under one roof. It's a little bit busy, it's a little bit crowded and chaotic, but if you're willing to spend a little bit of time digging, there are lots of treasures to be found. So the first thing I found at the vintage clothing show is this beautiful vintage wool blazer, and it's got this kind of check print with a hint of herringbone in it. Up close, the colors are like a rusty red, a deep green, as well as a nice tan, and then a black. And overall, it just has a really neutral look. What really attracted me to this piece was, first of all, the pattern, of course, but also the fit. When I threw this on at the vintage clothing show, I realized it has the perfect fit. It's an oversized modern look, but it fits really well in the shoulders, like it's not comically large. And it's got the extra length and the extra room in the bottom, which gives it that relaxed, oversized feel. It's fully lined on the inside in this greeny, satiny fabric. And I've already taken it to the dry cleaner, so it's all fresh, and that notorious vintage clothing smell has gone, so I'm thankful for that. The only thing I don't love about this blazer are these buttons. I think these make it look really outdated, but not in a fun way. So I had some fun picking out some modern buttons online, and I ordered some buttons, and I'm going to switch out the buttons on the front here, as well as the buttons on the sleeve, and once that's done, it'll be absolutely perfect, and I picture myself getting a lot of wear out of this. It's big enough that I can throw it on over a sweater. I think it could act as a blazer at work or as like an over jacket for going around on a cooler day, so I was so happy with this find. So the next piece I got from the Toronto Vintage Clothing Show is this cute little collared shirt, and as you can see, it's a black shirt that has white trimming along the front, the collar, and the sleeves, which I think just gives it a fun and unique detail. And it's made up of this comfy, stretchy fabric that makes it really practical to wear for everyday life. For me, I picked this up because I could picture it being a really cute work top tucked into some black pleated trousers, but I could also see it being a really nice going out top. I might just add one more button on the front here so that I can wear it to work and it's a little bit more buttoned up. But overall, this was such a cute little find. And last but not least, I picked up this really beautiful, super soft cashmere sweater. There was this one seller at the vintage clothing show that was selling all of these cashmere sweaters for really, really good prices. So I spent some time picking through all the sweaters, and I found this beautiful sweater. It's 100% cashmere, and as you can see, it has this cute button detail along the shoulder. It's got this nice high turtleneck, and it's got a boxy, relaxed, oversized look. I took this one to the dry cleaner as well, so it smells really nice, it's really fresh and clean. Normally I try to hand wash everything I possibly can, but I've made the cashmere mistake one too many times in my day to risk washing this in water ever again, so I will probably just bite the bullet and take it to the dry cleaner. But yeah, it's a really practical piece. I've already worn it to work a lot since I bought it, and I always love having a cozy, high-quality sweater like cashmere in my collection, so I'm happy with this one too. So now let's move on to some home goods, because I did find a lot of home goods recently when I was out thrifting and at these vintage markets. So me and my friend checked out the Hamilton Antique Mall, which is in Hamilton, Ontario. It's an absolutely huge multi-floor antique store that you could honestly spend a whole week in and not have looked at every single item. So we spent a really nice, relaxing day walking around there. And while I was there, I found this gorgeous set of these two kind of harvest autumn mugs. And as you can see, these mugs have a really adorable harvest print on them. They have some fruits and vegetables, and they're in these tones of orange and yellow and brown, which just made me think of the fall season. I'm not sure if these were maybe originally intended to be like soup bowls, but I've just been using them for my morning coffee and tea, and every time I get them out, I just feel so happy because they inspire me and make me think of the fall. Now, also at the Hamilton Antique Mall, I picked up this old kind of like wooden painter's box. It was really, really cheap. It needed a really good wash when I brought it home. But I'd been looking for something like this because I wanted something I could put my houseplants in, specifically my herb garden. So this is an oregano plant I have in here right now. Originally, I was hoping I would be able to fit 2 of these containers in this box, but it ended up being a little small. But that's okay because I still love the way it looks. It just has such a nice rustic look to it, and this is definitely kind of my style. When it comes to my home, I love a lot of wood and kind of rustic pieces, so yeah, this was just like a cute little home find that I'm happy to have. And then my last find from the Hamilton Antique Market was this really cute lamp. I was looking for a table lamp because while my apartment has lots of good windows, it doesn't have many overhead lights, so I just thought it would be nice to have a little lamp in my living room. And when I saw this one, it just made me so happy. I love the green ceramic color on the base and the wood details, as well as the square shape of the lampshade. It's just really quirky and fun. To me, it reminds me of like the 90s, and I just fell in love with it. So when I saw it, I had to have it. I brought it home and happy to have it in my home now. I was lucky enough to go and visit some small towns this fall. And one of the towns we went to is called Almonte. It's a small town in Ontario near Ottawa. And it's really notable for me because it's a historical textile center. So there's an old textile mill and textile museum you can walk through there. There's a cute fabric store you can go look in. And there's some vintage stores there too. So in addition to all the fun I had at the textile mill and museum while I was there, I also went into one of the antique stores. And while I was there, I picked up these beautiful wine glasses. I actually bought a set of 6. But what I loved about these glasses was the cute pink glass detail on the bottom. And I like that they're a little on the smaller side. I find a lot of wine glasses are huge, so I kind of like that they were just a little bit smaller. And I love that they were in a set of 6 and they were an amazing price. I've been wanting to pick up a nice set of wine glasses, and I think I would have paid a lot more for a modern set, and I love this vintage set even more than a modern set. So I feel really lucky to have these in my collection, and I've already gotten a little bit of use out of them since I bought them. While I was in Almonte at the antique store, I also saw a beautiful vintage Singer sewing machine with some lovely decals on the front, and it even had its bentwood case, and it was in amazing condition. I was really tempted to buy it, but I ended up deciding against it because it was a knee-powered machine, so rather than a foot pedal, you would control the speed of the machine with your knee, which I'm just not used to. And then I also am in a small apartment in the city, and I don't really need to be collecting a lot of machines right now. But it was so beautiful. I have a short video of it. If you guys are interested, I'll put that in. But another thing I bought at the antique store was this set of vintage cookie cutters. I love to bake, and I've always loved these vintage style cookie cutters. These are like the quintessential old-fashioned cookie shape, and I bought a set of 3. And I'm looking forward to making some cookies with these this fall and maybe even into the holiday season as well. And last but not least, this is not vintage, but it is from a small business in Almonte. I picked up a fall scented candle. I'm not a huge candle person, but I find when the fall and winter roll around, I do like to have one burning, especially just like a nice simple scent. And I smelled this tobacco and cardamom candle, and the scent is so beautiful. So I bought this. I treated myself to this as like my fall candle, and I've been burning it. And it just has a really nice sweet scent without being sickly, and it gives the room a nice light scent. So I'm happy to have this candle as well. Okay guys, last but not least, and possibly the most exciting of all for the viewers of my channel, I did find some sewing patterns while I was out shopping recently, mostly at the vintage clothing show here in Toronto, but a couple of these I did pick up from different places. So my first find wasn't a pattern at all. It's actually this vintage McCall's sewing catalog from 1946. And I've always wanted to get my hands on one of these, and this one's in really good condition and it wasn't too expensive. So back in the day, sewing pattern companies would send these out in the mail, or you could get them at the store. And basically they would advertise all of their sewing patterns for the upcoming year. So it would kind of give home sewers a sense of which things were going to be in fashion, as well as which patterns they might want to pick up in the coming year. And I chose this one because I really like 30s and 40s fashion, and this is the earliest one that they had, 1946. And I'll flip through it for you guys a little bit more, but to give you a sense, inside there's full-scale illustrations. This one doesn't have a ton of color, but it does use a few colors on the page. And it just illustrates which patterns were available, the styles, and all of that. And I think this is a really cool piece. I'm thinking I might frame it or something like that to have it on display. But it's a really cool study piece as well. And the seller that sold me this actually had a lot of these vintage catalogs, and they had some larger full-scale catalogs from like the 1930s and from different brands like Butterick and some of the French brands, and they were so beautiful. But those big catalogs were much more expensive, and it wasn't something I wanted to spend a lot of money on. But it was really fun to have the opportunity to flip through and see all of these old fashions in these great little catalogs. So I'm really happy to have something like this in my collection. So in terms of patterns, first up, I picked up this vintage Butterick pattern, and this is Butterick 6269, and this is clearly some sort of 50s pattern. I don't know exactly which year. Now, normally I must admit I'm not a big 50s gal. Like, I just think for me, a lot of the silhouettes with the full skirts don't translate really well to modern styles. So it's not something I sew a lot, but I did want to challenge myself to get a pattern that I might not normally buy and something different than what's in my collection. Since I do have quite a vast pattern collection already, I thought it might be more beneficial to pick up something a little bit different. So what I liked about this one was actually the top bodice of the dress. So the front of the dress, I like the V neckline as well as kind of the drapes that are going on there. So I thought perhaps I could even use the top half of this pattern, the bodice, to sew something. But either way, I just thought this was a nice one to have in my collection. And next up, I picked up some trusty vintage style patterns. I don't know what it is about style patterns from the 60s and 70s, but they're just chef's kiss. Perfect. I love the silhouettes. I think they're so fun and they translate so well to modern style. So whenever I see style patterns from that time period, I always look through carefully to see if there's any gems in there. And once again, because I have a big collection already, I really wanted to find details in these patterns that are details I don't already have in my collection. So the first one I picked up is this Style 4072 pattern. And as you can see, it's got a princess seam bodice with two different sleeve variations. But the feature I liked about this pattern is the front. So there's an option to add in a zipper in the front, which is always cool, or this fun lace-up detail. And I thought the lace-up was really neat. And I thought it would be something fun to try. I've never tried sewing anything like that before. So I thought this dress was really cute and really unique. Next up, I picked up this Style 4067 pattern. This is another princess seam dress. The detail that caught my eye in this pattern is the shape of the collar as well as kind of the top stitching around the collar. I thought it was a really nice idea. And one variation here looks like it has a really cute sleeve as well. So I thought the sleeve might be useful to have. But overall, I just think this is really versatile. Like, you can get a lot of different looks with this one. And the green dress in particular was really cute. So that kind of convinced me to pick up this pattern. So last up, I have this Style 2944 pattern. This one is in a little bit rougher shape here, but that's okay. This is a really gorgeous dress. It has some gathering at the bust, which is very unique, and I don't have a pattern quite like it. The other detail which makes it special is the sleeve. From far away, the sleeve might look like a simple puff sleeve, but close up you can see it's actually a sleeve that has several pleats in it. So I thought that was really interesting as well. And I feel like this pattern would work so well with modern fabrics, like a drapey viscose would look really great for something like this. So I think it would be really easy to find a pattern in my stash even that would go really well with this one. So I just thought it would be very versatile and also pretty wearable, because depending what fabric you make it in, it's not too dressy. It's the kind of thing you could just throw on and like run out to the shops and not look overdressed. So I thought this was a really nice find as well. Okay guys, so that's it for this video. I really hoped you enjoyed seeing the thrift shopping and antique shopping. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like videos like this, please subscribe. Okay guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.